Some of you know that I recently lost my father a couple weeks ago. And my father taught me two things. He taught me right from wrong, and he taught me to love this country. Senator Kelly and I have both served our country. We have risked our lives for our country. This country has given me everything. So if we have to sit here and take physical intimidation and legal intimidation to uphold the country we love, we will happily do that.
Wow. Joining us now, Democratic Senator Slotkin of Michigan. She's a member of the Armed Services Committee, one of the lawmakers that Donald Trump's Department of Justice tried and failed to indict yesterday over a video message simply advising the men and women of the military to reject illegal orders. Thank you for being here.
Sure, happy to be here.
You got me with this, that the country has given you everything, and that you doing your job includes telling the men and women of the military that they must not follow an illegal order. Do you have any better understanding today than you did when you made the video or the last time we talked as to why that was so triggering for Donald Trump to say those things?
No. I mean, it was a 90-second video where we were restating current law. And he went high and right, as we'd say at the Pentagon, and tweeted about us over a dozen times that we should be investigated, arrested, and ultimately hanged. And part of what happened yesterday was his people, his political folks following up on what he said. We were investigated, and then they tried to get a criminal indictment against us yesterday, trying to get us arrested. So, the heroes of yesterday were these 20 anonymous grand jury members. I don't know who they are. They were picked at random. And they taught us more about just basic democracy and rule of law than the President of the United States and the Attorney General. So, it's a positive thing the way it came out, but it should have never happened.
Do you worry that he'll take the case against the six of you to other jurisdictions and try to achieve an indictment?
Yeah, I mean, look, we knew doing a press conference, we knew pushing back on this, the voluntary inquiry, we knew that going on offense could easily piss him off and piss them off and result in more legal action. But the truth is, by sitting on our hands and doing nothing, we also were incurring risk, right? That the investigations kept coming when we were quiet. So if it's going to be bad when you're quiet, you might as well go on offense and have this conversation publicly. To me, I think that, look, I'm a sitting senator. I could create a legal defense fund. I could go on TV shows like this. The average person, sitting home in Michigan, can't do that. If the president comes for a small business owner or a community leader or a mom who goes viral on TikTok, that legal intimidation and the threat of having to get a lawyer and pay for that lawyer, and the physical intimidation when his followers follow what he says and threaten you and threaten your parents, that is enough to keep a lot of people quiet. And that's the point. The intimidation is the point. Physical intimidation and legal intimidation, so that other people watch this episode and say, not for me, I'm just not going to get involved. I'm not going to push back on Trump. So I think certainly for me, I was more than happy to take this on and to do it on behalf of just basic things like the rule of law.
Do you have information that suggests men and women are receiving illegal orders?
So certainly for me, the reason why I organized the video in the fall was because we were getting lots of folks, veterans, but also people in uniform, both in active duty and National Guard, who were like, I'm really worried that I'm going to be asked to do something that is illegal, or I'm hearing that that's happening, or I'm not sure, and I went to my JAG officer and I tried to be sure that what I was being asked to do was legal. And certainly if you look at what's going on in places like Minneapolis right now, that's not uniformed military, but it certainly could be. The president was sending National Guard all over the country. And that was the fear, was that you would have uniformed military in our city streets asked to do something against American citizens. And I know the military doesn't want to be doing that. They're not trained for that. So we were certainly hearing a chorus of voices, both in the United States, but also folks in in the Caribbean and the Pacific. So it was a chorus of voices.
When you look at the way Donald Trump is talking about the midterms, do you worry that that dynamic is very much a possibility in our future, our near future?
I don't think anyone should kid themselves. The President of the United States tells you what he's going to do before he does it. He's been talking about, he said we should federalize the elections. Okay, that means the federal government, that means him, run all of our elections in 50 states, literally opposite to how our founding fathers set up our voting system so that no one could become a king. He's been talking about, and members of his cabinet have been talking about, we may have to deploy federal law enforcement around voting locations if there's a problem. He sent the federal government into Georgia to go collect ballots from 2020 because he hasn't accepted that he lost that election. The man tells us what he's going to do. So at this point, I mean, there are certainly groups of us up here who take him at his word, and are working to make sure that we have free and fair elections come November. It's the most important thing we can do. So, no, I take him at his word.
You talked today about losing your dad a couple weeks ago. We are so sorry for your loss. But you also talked about the two things he taught you, right from wrong and to love your country. I've talked to people who've served in the military, or as you did, alongside the military as an intelligence officer, and they say this privately, that they've never loved their country more, because now it feels like it needs us to love it back, that it could slip away. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I mean, I do not feel pessimistic about our country. I know we will come through this moment that we're having in our history. We've come through really tough moments before, and every single time we come through it with two things: engaged citizens and principled leaders, every single time. People on the ground, like we see in Minneapolis, or these, grand jurors yesterday, do a little bit more than they're used to doing on behalf of their country. And then there are principled leaders of both parties ready to receive the ball and do something about it. I have no doubt that we will go through this chapter of our history the same way we've gone through other troubled chapters of our history. We're going to have to fight for it. And right now, instead of leadership coming from the top and leading the country the way I grew up and you grew up, during the Cold War, like, you look to the president to lead, you look to senior cabinet members to lead, to tell you how to be. It's the opposite now. If you want to see leadership, it's happening on the ground from citizens who aren't in the halls of power, but who understand that this is existential for our country.
Did a single Republican approach you today to talk about what Donald Trump's Department of Justice tried to do yesterday in indicting you?
A number of my Republican Senate colleagues have been asked in the hallways. Some have put out, like Senator Tom Tillis, have put out good statements. Others have been asked in the hallway and have said, decently good things. This affects every single one of us. If a sitting senator can be, potentially indicted for a 90-second video on free speech, so can others. So it should be a universal effort. But, I'll take what I can get from the handful that said something smart.
Are you surprised that they tried to indict all of you with seditious conspiracy?
We don't know exactly what their real, criminal allegation was. We just have hearsay from the media, of reporting.
Right.
But it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because this is their playbook. It's an authoritarian playbook that I could show you from a bunch of countries I've served in abroad and a bunch of places I've studied my whole life. There's a playbook where you use and weaponize the federal government against people you disagree with to get them to shut up. So, 7 days ago, they were asking us to voluntarily come and sit for this inquiry. When we said no, they went, again, what we'd call high and right, and they went to court. So it doesn't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise anyone anymore. The president believes the federal government is a tool of his political machine, and he's acting that way.
You talked a little bit about the access you have to lawyers, to establish a legal defense fund, to use the media to, talk about what they're doing. Where do we sort of protect or move to protect ordinary citizens who are being targeted or detained for simply exercising their First Amendment rights to protest, for example?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, we have to be good partners and allies and actually defend people, who are being taken into custody, right? We saw in the case of journalism, Don Lemon, but there was a lesser known kind of online news person who got picked up as well. We have to defend those we know and those we don't when we hear about those stories. But I will also say, I think, in 2026, just the vibe feels different. Fear is contagious, but so is courage. And I just keep seeing more examples in 2026 of people just taking an ounce more risk, holding hands together. Minneapolis is a perfect example of just people saying, I'm just not going to put up with it anymore, and we're going to kind of jump together holding hands into the breach because it's the country we love. And I've seen that a lot lately, and it is contagious, that courage.
Yeah. Minneapolis definitely feels like changed something for all of us. Senator Slotkin, thank you for joining us on this and all these